Hi there, I'm Michelle. Today we're going to be going over how to embellish a 1-4-5 chord progression in the key of E. It's going to go like this. Alright, let's take a closer look. Okay, now we're closer, and like I said, it was a 1-4-5 in the key of E. So we had a 1, a 4, and a 5, or an E, an A, and a B, okay? And it went something like... Okay, I repeated it twice. So this first one is an E chord, just like how this is a D chord. If we bump it up 2 times, we get an E chord, and I'm hitting this open E down here, and just those 3. If we hit these 2, it starts to sound muddy. Okay, so we have to skip those 2. All right, and just like a D, we can sus the chord, sus4 right here. We can do a sus4 with the E also. Okay, and that's also part of the E major scale. And there's a link for the scale shapes. But this scale shape in particular we got. I'm going to do that one more time. We have this one over here. And then we have this other shape right here. Okay, so these notes are in there. So we get the next chord I went is here, and this is still a kind of E chord, although we could also say it's like a G sharp minor, so it's like the 3rd, but I said we were just sticking to a 1-4-5, so you can still think of the 3rd chord as the 1 chord. Okay, it's like a chord substitution because they share a lot of the same tones. Okay, same notes. So in an E chord we have roots, 3rds, 5ths, so root, 3rd, 5th, right? Just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we can number all of them. But we have a root, a 3rd, and a 5th. So this chord here, it's got a 3rd in the bass. So it's like an E major chord, but it has a 3rd in the bass, okay? This note didn't change. That's a 5th, that's a B note. So we have a 3rd and a 5th. So far so good. This is a new note now though. This note is our D sharp. And it's the natural 7. So really, we have a root, a 3rd, a 5th, and a natural 7. So we have we're making an E major 7. Here's an E major 7, or we also have one right here. Right, or right here. But we can make one right here. This last one here is the E. So we have a root, we have a 3rd, we have a 5th, and a natural 7. Okay, so this gives us an E major 7. Or if we were thinking of it as a G sharp chord, we'd have a root, a flat 3rd, a 5th. This is an E, so I still gotta think about that one. That one's it's like a flat 6. we could call it a G minor flat 6, or I don't want to call it a sharp 5 because we have a 5 in there. Okay, or we can call it a flat 13, a G minor with a flat 13 in there. Alright, anyways, I'm still thinking of it as an E chord, which is an E major 7. So we have that little melody in there. Alright, and then this is also the leading tone into the A note. So now we have this bass line. Alright? Although I'm not hitting it here, I'm hitting it on the open A. So that's just an A chord. I'm just barring it. Some people play it like this or like this. I like to bar it because it leaves fingers left, right? Alright, so here is a step, and it's just I'm trying to get over here, and this here is another A chord. I'm just playing the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings of it, and I can still hit this open A string with it, which is nice. So where does this step come from? Well, that's part of that scale that I showed you, so it's in that. There's one of them. There's another. There's another one right there. Right there. Alright, so if I want to get from here to this A, up to this A, rather than just going, I can get this. So these are the notes in the scale, and I get to use them up. And actually from here to here, I was going to say it's perfectly diatonic up to it. Diatonic meaning we get to move one note at a time up to the next note, but that's not totally true. Here we're going up 1, 2, 3. For this one we're just going up 2. And same with this one. Okay, so all together we have. If it was totally diatonic, I would be here. That sounds nice too, though. But that's not what I did. Anyways. So that's our A. Right? And then it's time for the B chord. And rather than coming down here, just like an A, to go to a B is only up two notes, so I can just go up 2 notes here, and actually there's a B note right here, like I'm making this shape again, right? But if I'm already here, I don't want to have to go to this shape when I can just move it. Okay? So far we have it's time for E again, and we could go back. That sounds nice, but I thought while we're up there, we'll take advantage of the E that's up here. Here's this E chord. Play it like that. But I just like to bar it, and I can hit this open E. And then the E, we kind of hung out on the E a little bit longer than the other chords, right? So what I did is I went from here, and I wanted to work my way back down. So here's my E chord. All right, let me figure out what I did exactly there. chord, except for I'm skipping these so I don't need to have them down. Or actually, if we just let go of the pinky, it becomes a G sharp minor 7th. Alright. But it's still kind of E chord. This is an interesting note in there. It's a 2 or a 9. Alright, and this note, if we're still inside the E, that's a 2 also. Okay, so this is like an E sus2. Okay, so it's still kind of E chord. Sounds similar, right? So we have... Now there's an A right here that we already used. And now we have to do the A, B. And so I liked this one. Okay, this is an A chord. It's the same as our A chord here. But now we have the 3rd in the bass. And then the B chord, if we just flip them, is right here, normal B chord. And this also creates a nice bass line. So this whole thing, if I just play the bass, it's like this. Actually, I should have gone up here. Let me try it again. So we have... So... Okay, that's a nice little bass line moving down. Da, da, instead of... Alright, I'll play it one more time. Alright, that's it for today. And I hope you join me again next week for another lesson. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I also give Skype lessons, so if you're interested, come say hi. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.